Alright everyone, so I thought this would be a fun video. I kind of went through my collection of games and also collectible items, my gaming memorabilia, and I picked out some of the rarest items that I own. Now it's kind of interesting because at the end of this month that this video will be uploaded in, Microsoft is officially closing the Xbox 360 store, and so we've seen basically the price of many Xbox 360 games just skyrocket, as a result of this. And so, I want to go through sort of the rarest games that I have first, but the vast majority of these, actually all of them except one, are Xbox 360 games. So I want to kind of go through that, and then I'm going to show you guys sort of the other collectible items that I've acquired over the course of many years that are now kind of officially, rare, very hard to get. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and yeah, let's get on with it. So we're going to start with the games here. Now, as I said, the vast majority of these games are Xbox 360 games, so I'm going to actually run through those first. The first game up we have here, actually we'll start from this side, is Wet from Bethesda. Now, I played this back when it was new. For some reason, the price of this game is now like, almost like $70-$80 for like a used offhand copy. It's going up dramatically. It's an interesting title from Bethesda. It kind of plays like an homage to a classic sort of 70s or 80s action film, and it sort of takes the max time bullet mechanics and puts it in like a third-person parkour system, so you're running across walls and kind of doing everything. In fact, if you ever played the game John Woo's Stranglehold, this is kind of a similar game in that light. It's a decent game. I remember when I played it, I thought it was all right, very heavily stylized and kind of just fun, but it's one of those kind of quick single player games that you can play over the course of a weekend, and for some reason now the price is skyrocketed with this game. So I'm definitely going to be doing a reminiscing video on this. It's going to be interesting to play the game after all these years, but yeah, now it's very hard to actually get a copy of this game on Xbox 360. The price is actually, going up dramatically, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this reach or even top $100 for a used offhand copy, which is kind of a shame because it's a fun game, but one that it doesn't really justify that price point. Like, it's not phenomenal, it's just kind of, interesting. All right, next up we have the Simpsons game. This is the, I think the last Simpsons game ever made, at least AAA quality or mainstream quality release. I love The Simpsons, Hit and Run and Road Rage back on the PS2. I need to get copies of those games because those are also quite expensive. However, now that the 360 store is closing, and I don't even know if this game was digitally available on that storefront, but we've seen the price of this game actually skyrocket as well. So I already played this, but I haven't done a reminiscing video on it, so I don't want to get too into my thoughts. What I will say is that it's a fun platformer. It kind of harkens back to that older era of 6th gen gaming, and the Simpsons games have always been fun. Never really watched the show when I was young. I watched it a couple of times. The movie was phenomenal, but it was just sort of before my time, and I think they're still running episodes of The Simpsons, or new episodes, or maybe they closed it recently. I forgot. I think it's the longest running television series out there, but the games are just awesome, and they're just really fun to play. So you guys should look out for a reminiscing video on this sometime in the near future. Now we have a launch title for Xbox 360 that has seen a massive price increase, and again, very odd because this used to be bargain bin cheap, like $5-10, and that's Peter Jackson's King Kong. Again, very weird, like the other games. You could have picked this game up for like $10 back in the day. I think that's what I paid for this game many years ago. And, it was just kind of one of those launch titles. It was interesting, it's fun, and this is a cross-gen release. Microsoft was really showing this game when they revealed the 360 as, oh, look at what the graphics can do, as like a graphical showcase. I already did a reminiscing video on this. I had a fun time playing through it again, although it's just very interesting to see now that the price of this game is like very, high. Like, the game's very desirable, because I remember going into just my game store and you'd see like, a couple copies of this sitting on the shelf for like next to nothing, and now the price of this game, I think it's reached around $80 US. So again, I wouldn't be surprised to see this one top $100 in the next couple of months, especially when the storefront closes. But I don't even think that this game is available digitally either. So you have to have like a physical release to order in order to play this game. But yeah, it's all right. It's nothing super interesting or super phenomenal. It's just one of those interesting games of the time, and I had a good time playing it. One of those games from my childhood that I kind of remember quite fondly. So it was nice to be able to do a reminiscing video on this, and yeah, I recommend you check it out if you haven't watched that video already. All right, our next game is a bit interesting. I've had this game for many years, and it kind of came into my possession randomly. It's kind of hard for me to remember quite how I acquired this. It's a Call of Duty game, but it's a special version of a Call of Duty game. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the original. Now, if you take a close look at this, you're going to notice that the cover art as well as the back here has been sort of digitally signed by all the developers. And I have tried to do research on this version of the game, and the best I can surmise from what I've looked up or been able to find is that this version of the game was given to basically retail store managers, specifically GameStop, I believe, GameStop store managers. And it was after the game was like, a hot seller and everything like that. So for some reason, it's a signed copy, a digitally signed copy. They're not real signatures, but it's all over the cover art of this game and on the back. I have not seen a copy of this on eBay. However, I saw a similar copy for Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2, and someone was selling that version for like $150. So I'm not quite sure how desirable this is. I threw it in here because I'd never seen another copy of Call of Duty 4 like this with the digital autographs. And again, I think this was only given out to GameStop store managers, so it must be somewhat rare at least. If anyone knows in the comments, please let me know. Have you seen a copy like this for Call of Duty 4? Do you know the real story behind the copy of this copy of Call of Duty 4? I'd be really kind of interested to know because my research didn't really, come back with anything concrete. And again, I'd never seen another copy like this, and I think it's super rare. I just don't know how rare or how valuable it is. But anyway, I love the game. I did a reminiscing video on the Modern Warfare Remastered and really talked about my history with Call of Duty 4. I don't know if I'm going to do a reminiscing video on the original game, but this is definitely just something I remember quite fondly from my childhood. So I love having the game. It's just quite interesting that I have this version of the game. Again, it kind of came into my possession randomly, and I just had it for many years and haven't seen another one like it. So anyway, yeah, if you guys know the whole story, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. All right, we got some more rare Xbox 360 games, and we have the Spider-Man games, specifically the two Beanox games, Edge of Time as well as Shattered Dimensions. Now these games are highly desirable and valuable right now, and they always kind of were for many years. The reason is that when the license expired from Activision and Sony bought the Spider-Man IP, or they reacquired it, I should say, for gaming, they took these games off of the storefront. So the only way you can play these games, and in fact all of the original Spider-Man games as well, is through the actual retail disc. However, these are the most valuable of the Spider-Man games. Now, I played both of these games. Shattered Dimensions is a great game. It's really fun. It's a linear game, but you're playing as 4 different versions of Spider-Man from different eras, and it's like a multiverse story. This was a multiverse story before the multiverse theory and stuff became super popular in media. So it was really interesting and fun at the time, and you got varied different types of gameplay. I also played Edge of Time. I think I reviewed both of these games actually. But I remember playing Edge of Time, and I hated this game. It was awful. In fact, I never finished it. So I want to do a reminiscing video on both of these games. But yeah, if you actually want to get both of these games, combined total, you're spending a little over $100. I think you can get probably offhand copies or used copies for somewhere around the 60 to 70 region. But the price of these is just going up and up and up. And even when I bought them many years ago, I still paid like almost $30 for both of these games. So yeah, the price was relatively, kind of high back then, but now it's just skyrocketing, and I wouldn't be surprised again to see these games top $100 easily. They're not phenomenal games, but they're interesting. Edge of Time is no, not Edge of Time. Shattered Dimensions is a lot of fun. And probably my favorite Spider-Man game of the 7th generation. It's just fantastic. So this is a good game, this not so much, but I have both of them, and yeah, I'm gonna do a reminiscing video. Maybe my opinions will change on both of these games. All right, winding down with the 360 games here, we have another launch title that has seen another price increase, and that is Need for Speed Most Wanted, the original Need for Speed Most Wanted. Again, this game used to be like 15, 20 bucks. I think that's what I paid for it when I bought it many years ago. But now you're seeing prices in the 80s and 90s, and I even seen original like sealed copies for closer to 200 bucks. It's crazy. The 360 version in particular actually is a better version of the game. It has more advanced graphical features than even the PC release, so it's a bit exclusive in that regard. Now, this version that I have here isn't the first print retail version. It's a second print release, and the reason I know that is because the box art, the cover art on the original version is like this shiny kind of translucent type material. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's very reflective, and this is sort of just a basic box art that's kind of, you know, matte. Now, the thing is, if I open this up, I actually have the original launch disc, which still has and retains that reflective shiny coating on it. So you can see it in the light here, you know, as it reflects. So the front cover art was supposed to be like that, but you know, I guess someone took the first edition, you know, print of the disc and put it in this second version of the game. In any case, you know, this is highly valuable right now. This is a copy that's going to go well over 100 bucks as the store closes. And, you know, I think as people start collecting all these old Need for Speed games, because the music licenses expire, the car licenses expire, you know, those games just, they go offline, and, you know, the only way you can play them is if you bought the retail disc. So it's quite interesting, but yeah, it's just weird to see the price of this go so high, because I paid like next to nothing for this game, and now it's like, you know, 100 bucks around there for basically a copy of this. My last Xbox 360 game is probably the rarest Xbox 360 game that I have, and it's weird because, again, I paid like $5 for this game, and no one really wanted it. It wasn't desirable. I don't think a lot of people ever heard of it until just recently when the price increase happened. Bullet Witch on the Xbox 360. Now, I did a reminiscing video on this a couple years ago, and it's just a very bizarre game. It's fun, right? Very fun, but kind of quirky and just weird. It's does not translate well in today's climate and stuff like that. It's just kind of funny, and I couldn't help but just kind of smile and laugh my whole way through, because the game just kind of plays like this melodramatic, you know, action like comedy. It's weird, but anyway, this game is worth, just a used copy, you're paying over 100 bucks, and it's one of the most desirable Xbox 360 games right now. And it's funny because it's not even that great of a game. I think in my reminiscing video I called it a technical disaster, because if you play this, you have to play it on Xbox 360 hardware. It's not backwards compatible, but the frame rate in this is so atrocious. It like runs in the 20s and the teens, and there's hideous graphics, ugly poppin'. It's just like a technical mess, but at the same time, it does something that I haven't seen from other games of that era, where it has these incredibly large open areas, like these levels that are just huge, and there's full 3D, you know, real-time destruction in this game with all physics and stuff like that, and you can just, like, you know, fucking pull in a thunderstorm, a tornado, and just see buildings get ripped apart. It's absolutely ridiculous and out of this world, but it is now the most valuable, you know, game in my Xbox 360 collection, and I even have the collectible poster, which came with the game. I don't have a manual, but I have the exclusive poster with it. So yeah, it's a game that will only appeal to, I think, a couple of people, but now people want it because it's rare, and it's just a weird thing, because I paid like $5 for it, and now it's like a $150 game or something like that. It's kind of ridiculous. So anyway, that's the rarest game I have in my 360 collection. All right, and as I said, all of the games I was about to show you, all of them were Xbox 360 games besides one. And I have a PS4 game to show you that is kind of rare. It's probably the rarest PS4 game that I have. However, the price of it isn't so high, and that is the physical copy of Gravity Rush Remastered. Now, why is this rare? Well, apparently I pre-ordered this on Amazon, and I was just like, oh, Gravity Rush Remastered. I played it on PS Vita. Yeah, I'll play it on PS4. It's a great game. Apparently Amazon was the only retailer that was selling the physical copy, and they had limited versions of the physical print available. And so when it sold out, it didn't come back. And I found this out like many years after the fact that I bought it. Like, I didn't even know it was rare, or even like, you know, I guess had a low volume, like a low print rate. So I didn't even realize it was like a super rare game or anything like that. And yeah, I found out that Amazon was the only retailer that was selling these things, and now they're somewhat desirable. So if you want to buy this, I think the last time I checked on eBay, people are selling it for like 70, 80 bucks, which isn't too bad. Kind of in retrospect to the other games I somewhat mentioned, but you know, so this game technically is a Vita game that they just remastered for the PS4. It runs at 1080p 60, and it's a great version of the game. And it also kind of makes sense because Gravity Rush 2 is a PS4 exclusive game, which is a phenomenal sequel to this. So yeah, I think that, you know, it's a rare game. Is it a $70 game? Not really. You know, it's a Vita game, so I think I paid like, what, 30 bucks for this back when it came out. And it's a good remastered copy, but it is basically the rarest PS4 game that I have in my collection. And again, I didn't even find that out till many years later. So yeah, I played it. I think I even did a video or an unboxing of this back in the day. So if I did, I'll make sure I'll leave a card up for you guys to watch, all right? All right, next up I have my rare strategy guides and art books. I thought I'd show you guys. So first up, we have the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, the Collector's Edition Strategy Guide. So the price for this is almost reaching $100 at this point, which is kind of weird because I bought it when the game came out, because I also got the Collector's Edition of Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on PS4, which is now super rare as well. And I'll show you guys the statue and stuff later, but this is just the strategy guide. And yeah, apparently this hardcore cover version of it, this collector's edition version, is now very expensive. The price has gone up, and I guess they're very, you know, highly desirable. And it's a beautiful strategy guide, I must say, you know, full color and everything like that. There's so many pages in here. In fact, let me get the actual page number really quickly. We're approaching like 530 pages on this thing. So it's a massive, massive strategy guide that just has a ton of detail. And I actually used it when I played the campaign of the game. So, you know, just something kind of cool to have, and, you know, brings back a lot of memories whenever I see this on my shelf. Next up, we have the Fallout New Vegas, the Collector's Edition Strategy Guide. The price for this has also gone up, and is similar to like the Witcher 3 Collector's Edition Strategy Guide as well. Now, I bought this when it was new, back when the game was new, and I think I did an unboxing for this with the game, or at least in a separate video back when I was doing strategy guides, unboxings. And yeah, you know, it's weird because Fallout New Vegas seems to be everyone's favorite, more recent Fallout game that was released. At least the original fans of Fallout really love New Vegas more than any of the other Bethesda Fallout games. I actually did not care for this game as much as Fallout 3. I think that's partly because the setting of New Vegas is more of like this post-apocalyptic Western. You know, I just preferred the more kind of dreary, more retro sci-fi aesthetic of Fallout 3 versus kind of the more Western stylized sci-fi of this game, New Vegas. Still a great game. I would love to do a reminiscing video in the future, and it'd be kind of interesting to play the game with the strategy guide being used and stuff like that again. because I don't really remember it too well. Maybe my opinions will change. Maybe after I play it again, I'll agree with everyone that New Vegas is the better game. But yeah, nice to have the strategy guide, the collector's edition strategy guide. Again, the price of this has gone up, and I even have the collectible map and stuff that it comes with. So that's pretty cool. All right, we are moving on to the memorabilia type stuff. Not the strategy guides, not the art books, not the games, but now statues and collectible figurines and different things like that. So we have to start off here probably my favorite of all of my collectible statues, and that is the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Collector's Edition statue. Now, this is a bit infamous, very oddly enough, because the quality of this is phenomenal. Like, it has a lot of weight to it. It feels very dense. It feels like it's an expensive piece of, of art here. But apparently, there are a lot of people who didn't care for this particular collectible because the whole thing is hand sculpted and hand painted, and I guess there was a large degree of variance between different collectible versions. So if you bought a collector's edition and got the statue, your statue may look better or worse than someone else's. I never really had an issue with mine. I looked at mine and I don't see any problem with it, so maybe I just got one of the good ones. But it seems to me that a lot of people don't like, or I just heard some people are really disappointed with their particular statue. Apparently it's messed up, or the face is messed up, or something like that, and that's all down to it being completely hand sculpted and stuff. But out of all my collectible statues, this has to be my favorite, just because it's the one that I feel looks the coolest. It's hand sculpted and all that stuff, so you really see the artistic intent kind of come through. And I guess I just got lucky because it's a really good version of the statue. I'm really happy with this. So yeah, I'm happy to own this, and again, out of all the ones I have, this is my favorite. All right, next up we have my Mirror's Edge collectible pre-order bonus from 2008. Now, this was exclusively given to early pre-orders of the original Mirror's Edge. Back in 2008, you had to walk into GameStop and pre-order it, and they would hand you this collectible bag, and there was very limited quantities. Now, back in the day, I was 14 years old back when Mirror's Edge released, and I couldn't just walk into GameStop and pre-order any game I wanted. I didn't have a job. So I never actually got a bag of my own. I never got to actually get this, and I ended up buying it on eBay a couple of years later for like $40-$50 or something like that. Right now, I think one person is selling this on eBay for like $100 right now. So it's one of those things that kind of pops up every now and again, but once they're gone, they're kind of just absent for a little while. Then you kind of have to wait. So it's a bit interesting. And actually, when I bought this, one of my close friends, Reality Pales, some of you long-term viewers might remember that he and I did the infamous 2 beta coverage on YouTube. We're the only ones because of the PSN outage back in the day. When I bought this, I think I made a post on Facebook, and we were friends on there, and then he commented and was like, "Oh, I still have mine too. I would have sent it to you if you just asked." And I was like, "No, dude, keep it. It's awesome that you have it." And yeah, he's just, we still talk to this day. He's a really good friend of mine. Yeah, I think that was awesome that he even offered to send it to me. But I got one of my own, and you guys see this all the time when I'm doing videos like this. It sits there right, behind me. I just kind of have it hanging on my shelf there, and it's a great replica. And if you love the game like I do, just everything about it is awesome. So I'm so happy to have this. Again, this is one of the most favorite collectible possessions of mine, and just fills my heart with nostalgia and happiness whenever I see it. Winding down here with the last couple collectibles, we have my PS4 here, my launch PS4. But the reason I bring this up is that this faceplate that's on it is highly sought after and is a rare collectible. This is the PlayStation Symbols skylights for the PS4. Now, those of you who remember, Sony was actually doing, they were selling faceplates for only like a year with the PS4 before they canceled it. It was called the Project Skylight Beta. And I looked at all the faceplates that were available, and there was basically a lot of game-themed ones. They had like a Little Big Planet one. I think the Order 1886 had a faceplate. And I was just like, I don't really want a, game themed faceplate. I like stuff that's sort of, branded or more nuanced and stuff. That's something where you can't tell it's the game. But Sony had this one put out at the very tail end of the program called PlayStation Symbols. And I was like, oh, I want that one because it's not branded for any game. It's just the symbols, and that's going to look great on my black launch PS4 here. Well, I didn't know that they were super rare. They sold out very quickly, and I got one. I was able to order one through the PlayStation website, and I uploaded a video, an unboxing of it that received like tens of thousands of views for some reason. And I haven't seen this on eBay. Like, I think the last time I searched for it before I did this video, I didn't find anything. But the last time I remember seeing this on eBay, someone was trying to sell it for like $180. So it's quite rare, and I just like it. It doesn't serve any other purpose than cosmetics. I just like it, especially on this launch PS4. And because of the symbols, they kind of fade towards the end here, and they're in this nice kind of PlayStation blue color. It looks really good on this black machine. But yeah, this was like the last faceplate that they released for the system. And it's just one of those weird things where Sony was like, putting out all these different options for the PS4, trying to see what stuck. And basically, the program ended only like a year once it got started. It was very quick. So I'm really happy to have this. I just love the way it looks on this launch PS4. It's a great collectible, and yeah, very happy to have it. All right, two more collectibles, and this one we have is the most recent of my collectibles that I just actually got a couple of weeks ago. This is the Alan Wake 2 Oh Dear Thermos. Now, I didn't even realize, when these first became available, I don't know what I was doing. I just wasn't paying attention. Because these sold out extremely quickly, and for some reason people were trying to like sell them on eBay for like exorbitant amount of money. But now I Am 8-Bit actually did a second restock of it, and I remember I was like refreshing the webpage, and I was lucky enough to actually check out and buy this thing. So again, it was like a very limited restock, and that's basically how I got it. I basically was like refreshing the webpage and was able to check out, and didn't have any issues. The reason this is cool is that, if you played Alan Wake, one of the collectible items is thermoses, coffee thermoses, and so it's kind of cool to have, one that's kind of taken from the game here. And I love Remedy. I'm so happy Alan Wake 2 is getting a physical release. I already pre-ordered it, and might do an unboxing for you guys. And yeah, it's just a really cool thing to have. And it's a really quality product as well, I have to say. It's fully functional here. You could take off the cap, you could fill it and stuff. It's kind of lined with some really cool material. So yeah, I just think it's really cool. So I just have this kind of sitting on my shelf right now, next to all my other different mugs and my PS Vita and stuff. And yeah, it's just kind of taken from the game, and something I'm just very happy to have. All right, everyone, now we have arrived at the rarest collectible I own. This is a item that is being sold currently right now for just around $1,000. And I did an unboxing of this game back during launch. I pre-ordered this edition of the game sold exclusively through GameStop, knowing nothing about the fact that its value was going to skyrocket immediately once it was sold out. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's one of those weird things where it's just something I bought out of pure interest, but I didn't really ever think it was gonna be, the most expensive thing I practically own gaming wise. Anyway, so we have here the Last of Us post-pandemic edition statue, the collectible edition of the game. This statue alone is worth $600-700. Now, if you have the steelbook case of the original game, if you have the box and all that stuff, then you're talking about $1,000, sometimes even $1,200-1,400. And if it's sealed, then it's going to be a couple $1,000 being sold right now on eBay. It's absurd. It's weird because this statue, the quality of it isn't particularly high at all. In fact, I have mine's kind of broken, and it has a common issue with this statue is that Ellie's rifle, the barrel of the rifle would just become kind of corroded over time, and it would fall off. And that's what happened with my statue. In fact, there are people selling it right now on eBay that are kind of selling it at a discounted price with the barrel of Ellie's rifle kind of, gone. It's kind of clipped off. So yeah, that's what happened with mine. Just over time, for some reason, it started bending and bending. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I barely touched it and it just falls, it cracks. So the material of this statue, again, the quality of it isn't really that high, but I think it's because of how popular The Last of Us became and the fact that this was only exclusively sold through GameStop at the time. I did a full unboxing of this on my birthday. I remember because the game released on my birthday, and this statue is now inadvertently the most expensive thing that I own in my gaming collection as far as collectibles go and things like that. Again, just the statue alone is worth around $700, but if you have everything, it's worth about $1,000 for just used offhand copies. So I'm just this thing kind of sits on my shelf, and I'm very fortunate to have this. It's weird, I don't consider myself like the biggest Last of Us fan. I've always loved Uncharted more than I've loved The Last of Us, but of all the things I own, it is kind of interesting to have this. And yeah, it just kind of sits on my shelf. And whenever I think about it, it's weird. Whenever I think about it, I don't think about the game. I think about the value of this thing. Like that's what it's done to like my mindset. Whenever I see this statue, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the $1,000 statue. There it is. And with the broken fucking barrel, because the quality of it sucks. So anyway, yeah, just one of those weird things that, I never thought in my lifetime that I would ever own something that would be this expensive collectible wise. And when I bought the collector's edition, I think it was $150 retail, so it wasn't even like absurdly expensive, although this was 2013. But I didn't buy it because I was thinking to myself, oh, this is going to be collectible. I bought it out of genuine interest in the game, and just because I love Naughty Dog from Uncharted and all that stuff, I was like, oh, it's a new IP, this is going to be great. So yeah, I bought the collector's edition, and it's just inadvertently become, the most expensive thing I own collectible wise. So anyway, yeah, I thought I'd end it with this, quite a banger. You can still kind of technically try to buy them on eBay, but again, you're spending just absurd amount of money. And I don't even think, are there really people trying to buy, these statues for like almost $1,000? I would love to meet the people who look at that and are just like, yeah, I'm gonna think about that, or I'm gonna buy it, I don't know if those things actually sell. These scalpers put the price up of all these items, and I'm just like, is anyone really gonna spend that much money for that? I don't know. Anyway, that is a look at all the collectibles that I own in my collection. It was quite a couple of them. I don't have like, the thing with me is that I'm a huge believer in buying things for the sake of using them, right? I'm never just gonna buy something for the sake of collecting and having it sit there and not be used. That's why, to me, like, it doesn't matter what games in my collection are rare or not rare or valuable or not. Like, I could have a game that's worth $500 to $1,000 or whatever, and it doesn't matter to me because I have no intention of selling it. And the reason I have it is not because it's valuable, it's because I want to play the game. And I think it's very important, if you're going to build out a collection of anything, I think that first and foremost, it should be because you want to play the game, you want to watch the movie, you want to experience whatever it is, There's one thing where it's like this is a collectible that's obviously supposed to, sit on a shelf and stuff like that. That's a completely separate thing. But gaming wise, it's like, I find it really gross when people buy things just for the sake of selling them, or they buy things just for the sake of having all this shit so that they can show it off and say, hey, look at me, or don't you envy me and all of my games? And that's one thing I really made a point to make sure I practice. It's why the reminiscing videos are so important to me, is that regardless of how many games I own, regardless of how large my collection is, every single one of those games will be played. I will experience them. I do have a genuine interest in playing them. And you know, I want to make sure that that comes across through my content, and that's why I do the reminiscing videos, is because look, I bought this game, or I have this in my collection, but I am playing it and I'm sharing that with you guys, what my experiences. And yeah, sometimes, you know, I might buy a game and I don't enjoy it, but to me it's like it's all part of that genuine experience. I'm still making sure that it is being used, or it's not just sitting there for the sake of it's sitting there so I can just show it off, you know. So it's just something that's important to me, and I don't care to watch people, especially on this platform, that are just like, look at all of the games I own, and they're not really gamers. They don't play the games, you know. It just kind of sits there on a shelf, and they sit back and they're like, God, that's impressive. You know, I don't want to ever be one of those people, and I don't want to support, you know, that type of mindset at all. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you guys some of the rare stuff that I've acquired over the course of, you know, the years that I've really started collecting games and collecting, you know, different memorabilia type stuff, different items and things like that. The stuff that I purchased that I never thought was going to be super rare and is now like extremely valuable. It's just kind of interesting how all that works out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know, is there anything that you guys see here that you own yourself? What is the most valuable thing in your collection? Do you have any collectible statues? Do you have any special, you know, games that are rare or worth a lot? I would love to hear what you guys have in the comments below. All right, take it easy and have a great day.